Alrighty, we are recording and I will call this budget meeting, 2022 budget meeting to order at 7:20. So big thanks to everybody for coming, for being patient. We had so many people log in really early. Again, we've just, I think the most people I've ever seen on a Zoom. So we need to make a motion to appoint a moderator, and I will make a motion to appoint Lori Shiesel moderator for this meeting, and I would need a second on that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you, Rufus. Is there any discussion or questions? I'm going to scan. We've got 2 pages of folks. I don't see any hands up.
That is correct. That brings you to 12,000. Tony, you have 6,000.
Somebody.
Our champ at 21,000.
Sorry about that. One second, we need to put up a poll. Apologies. So we have launched a poll to appoint Lori Shiesel moderator. You would just pick your yes or no choice. We'll give it a few seconds. And Carrie, there's a Brennan Wilkins and family in the waiting room. I'm going to admit him to sweep into the breakout room.
Jean, a bunch of us got dumped into breakout rooms again, so we're coming back.
Okay. We'll leave this poll open for another, 30, 35 seconds.
Thanks.
Yeah, if it asks you to go to the breakout room, just say no. I don't know why that popped up. Thanks, Melissa. So we're going to wrap up this poll so we can turn things over to Lori.
Lori is on mute.
Whoop. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Just briefly sharing the results.
okay.
We still have people moving back and forth, but obviously we are moving over to you for moderator, Lori.
Jean,
Thanks. Yes.
Jean, may I have the number of votes, please?
Yes, it was 43 in favor.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. So welcome to the annual budget meeting of the town of Kent. Those of you who know, thank you for nominating me and voting me as moderator. Those of you who know me know that I am not afraid to stand up in front of a room, but I have to tell you, this is scary. So bear with me and bear with the technology as we try to have a healthy town meeting that, as much as possible, simulates that you all have the opportunity to participate in what I consider one of the greatest forms of government, being the town meeting. So there being, we'll get started. Jean was going to post a rules, but the general rules are that if you want to ask a question, use the chat room's going to be the easiest way for me to know that you have a question, because I can't see all the hands, and you can also try to use hand raising. Jean has somebody who's monitoring hands, and I would, if I see it in the chat room, I'll be able to know. So that's going to be one of the most difficult things, is knowing who wants to speak about a question as we participate in the discussions. Let's see, my other lists of commentary.
Do you want me to share the rules of the day?
No, I'll just go through it quickly. The meeting is being recorded. The chat is public record for everyone to see. Please stay on mute as much as possible, unless you're speaking. If the Zoom stops for any reason, go back out and come back in. There are people monitoring to get you back in. Questions entered through the chat are going to be the easiest way for me to hear them. We are checking the chat also, and if everybody doesn't know, you get into the chat by the bar down at the bottom, your toolbar at the bottom, and please be patient as we work through the technology. The first order of business is for the town clerk to confirm that the meeting was duly warned and noticed.
Yes, it was.
Thank you. And I would entertain a motion to waive a reading. Has everyone got a copy of the agenda? Is there anyone who needs to have a reading of the 5 questions and a reading of the notice? Or do I have a motion to waive that?
I would make a motion to waive that.
Thank you, Rufus. And a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Nancy.
I need just a moment to,
There's going to be a poll question. That's how all the voting's going to go. It's by this kind of a poll question. You click, the results get tabulated. So that you have to bear with us as we go through that.
and that motion was waive the reading of,
Of the notice of the meeting.
okay, we'll launch that poll now.
Everybody can click their yes or their no. And we have 4, oops, Jean, are we done?
We'll give it another couple of seconds. We
Okay,
have 44 of 46
okay, okay,
participating because we have one person who's not a voter.
okay. Well, I'm gonna go with it. The
Okay.
motion passed, 40, Darlene, 44, yes, no, no. Okay, do I have a motion for item number 1 on the agenda?
Yes, I make a motion to authorize the Board of Selectmen or other town officials in accordance with the Kent Policy and Procedure Manual to apply for, accept, and expend funds or grants, including but not limited to town aid road for general municipal purposes for the fiscal year 2022 to 2023.
Thank you, Bonnie. That was Bonnie Donzella, Darlene. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jim Blackheader. Is there any discussion on the motion? Again, you can use the chat. Or if I can see your hands,
Or that raise hand feature if folks are used to that.
or
too.
the raise hand feature. Jane Zatlin, you've got that one down. Anybody else?
I see Judith has her hand up.
Judith, go ahead. Does she need to be unmuted, Jean?
Yeah, I don't have a question.
Okay, thank you. Jean, are you ready with the question? Because I don't see that anyone has any discussion on the question number 1, authorization for town aid road and other state grants.
Yep, I don't see anybody. I don't see any questions in the chat.
Okay, can you put the question up then? Okay, what you should have on your screen is an opportunity to vote yes or no on question number 1, authorizing the Board of Selectmen to apply for and accept town aid road and other grants. I'm going to give it another, we don't have quite all the number of people that are eligible to vote at the meeting. We have about, I think Jean said 44 people eligible. I have 43 votes at this time. Okay, and we're going to end the voting, and the result, the answer to question number 1 is it passed. 42 people voted yes, 1 no. 43 votes in total. Darlene, is that good?
Yes, thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, you bet. Okay, is there a motion for question number 2 on the agenda?
Rick Osborne, to authorize Board of Education or other town officials to apply for, accept, expend funds of any federal, state, or other funds or grants for educational purposes for the fiscal year 2022, 2023.
Thank you, Rick. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I'm not sure who that was, Darlene.
It was Rufus, the younger one.
Thank you,
Yeah,
younger Rufus. Thank you. It looks like this question is similar to question number 1, a generic authorization, but applies to Board of Education. Is there any discussion or questions? You can raise your hand, use the hand raising, or put a question in the chat room.
Not seeing any questions or hands up.
I am not either. That being the case, I'm going to ask Jean to put the poll question up on item number 2 of the agenda. Okay, it looks like we have full participation. The motion passed 43 yes, no nay. Okay, and item number 3 of the agenda, is there a motion for item number 3?
Lori Allen Govel here.
Hi, Alan.
To make motion number 3, to appropriate from reserve fund for capital and non-recurring expenditures an amount equal to the expenditures approved in the fiscal year 2022-2023 column of the 5-year capital plan.
Thank you, Alan. Is there a second? Is there a second for
I'll
item number?
second Rick Osborne.
Thank you, Jim. I got Jim Blackadder first, Rick. Thanks. Okay, so we have a second. Is there discussion on the question of authorizing funds for the capital plan? Or anyone from either Board of Finance or Board of Selectmen who wants to address this?
I don't see any hands up or anything in the chat.
Any questions about the capital fund? I don't see any questions or hands either. Okay, going once, going twice, opportunity to discuss. All right, we're going to have Jean put up the question. This is question number 3, appropriating from the reserve fund for capital and non-recurring. You should see a voting tab. Okay, we have 43 votes, 42 yes, and 1 no. Okay. And question number 4. Is there a motion for item 4 on the agenda?
I will make that motion to consider and act upon the recommendations of the Board of Finance for the 5-year capital plan.
Okay, thank you, Jean. And is there a second to that
Second.
motion?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Rufus. So the Board of Finance has worked up the 5-year capital plan, and this is an opportunity. Any questions or discussion on the capital plan? Recommendation of it, adoption of it. I don't see any hands raised. I don't see any questions in the chat room. Okay, Jean, if you could post the question. There's the, you should have the poll for voting on question item number 4. We have 43 votes total, 42 yes to approve the capital plan and 2 no. Any questions? Okay. And the next item on the agenda is item number 5. Is there a motion for agenda item 5?
All right, this is Rufus Duram, Rufus L. Duram. Number 5, to consider and act upon the recommendation of the Board of Finance for fiscal year July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023, inclusive and appropriate money to defray the expenses of the town in accordance with the said budget as finally accepted and established as follows. Board of Selectmen operating budget at $4,473,675. Transfer to capital fund for future projects at $1,078,408. Transfer to dog fund, $7,500. Appropriation for Scotticoke legal, $30,000. Debt service, $38,906. Appropriations from capital for current year, $806,000. Board of Education operating budget, $4,782,410. Region 1 budget, $2,459,300 for the total expense of $13,676,199.
Thank you, Rufus. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, I heard Jim, and who was the Nancy O'Day Wyrick? You were the one? Okay. Darlene, whichever one you heard first is fine by me. Is there any discussion on the town budget? This is an opportunity, again, chat, use a hand raise through Zoom, or try raising your hand, which is probably going to be the least successful way to do it. Questions? Comments from anyone? Nancy.
I think everybody worked very, very hard on the budget this year, and I just want to thank everybody for their help and their input.
Thank you. Anyone else? There being no further discussion on the budget appropriation, I'll ask Jean to post the question for voting.
And sure, for visibility to everyone, Zoom has a character limit in the, when we write the question. And so this question didn't include the detail that was read and that it's in the legal notice, but it is in the question for the legal notice, which you'll see right now.
And I see the total matches. So that's the budget we're approving. Or not. And it looks like everybody's, there we go. We have 43 votes and the budget has passed with a vote of 38 yes, 5 no. So the budget is passed. And the last item on the agenda is item number 6. And is there a motion for item number 6? Does anyone want to take this one? You have a copy of it?
I'll do it. I'll
Okay,
do it.
Rufus, okay.
To consider and act upon the resolution entitled Resolution Appropriating $2,352,525 for Town of Kent Streetscape Improvements Phase 2 project and authorizing the issue of $2,352,525 bonds of the town to meet said appropriation and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings for such purpose.
Thank you, Rufus. And is there a second? Second?
Second, Andrea Shaney.
Thank you,
second.
Andrea. Is there discussion on the question? Would anyone from the Sidewalk Streetscape group have any comments, anything to add on this? Is somebody talking?
I apologize. That's the mobile radio in the background.
Oh, okay. There's no questions in the chat room, and I don't see any hand raised. I don't want to cut anyone off, and this is hard to.
Lori,
Yes.
Barbara
Darlene.
has put a comment in the chat that is requesting a motion to waive the reading of the full motion.
And the full, so I'm only looking at the agenda. Is there another motion, Barbara? The full resolution.
Yeah, Jean, it has it.
Jean, could you post the full if you could put that up on the screen so everyone can see it, and then we'll get a motion to. That's the
I
full
can-
bond resolution?
I can share that.
Okay, please do. Because we're voting on the bond resolution.
Can everybody see it?
Okay. It's
Can
one.
you zoom in your screen? So it's
Can you go to page 2 then? Okay, and page 2,
Why page 2?
there's 3 pages, right?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Why don't you leave that up for a minute? So the bond resolution is rather lengthy and contains a great deal of legal language that's required in order for the bonds to sell on the bond market. Is there a motion to waive the reading of the entire resolution?
This is Jason. I'd move.
Thank you,
second.
Jason. And
I'll
a second by Rufus Duram, the younger. Is it? Okay. Thank you. And all of those in favor of waiving the entire resolution for the question number 6, please
I have a-
signify.
I have a poll to put up.
Okay, Jean's got a poll, so please vote. Thank
And
you,
it's-
Barbara. I
You're
think
waiving the reading, not waiving the resolution.
you are waiving the reading of the entire bond resolution. That's correct.
Thank you.
That's what Jason made the motion for. And that motion has passed 43 yes, no no's. So we are not going to read the entire thing, but now we can go back for discussion on the streetscape improvement and the bonding for the 2,352,525. Barbara, you can unshare the screen if you want. I think we're good.
Well, can you see what I posted now? I posted the 2 letters, one from the Board of Selectmen and one from the Board of Finance.
Okay, thank you.
So
So,
if I can just speak to both of these just a teeny bit.
yep,
The resolution, before it could come before the taxpayers, it actually had to have action from both the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance. And this is the proof that both of those boards have already considered this resolution and have already passed it.
Thank you.
This funding resolution that the taxpayers are being asked to take action on is really just a housekeeping task that will formally recognize and distinguish phase 1 and phase 2 of the streetscape project. And it will also formally recognize the TAP funding, which is Transportation Alternative Program funding that Kent was awarded from the federal government through Connecticut DOT. This funding resolution will not increase the total debt that may be bonded. The TAP program funding is estimated to reduce the overall cost of the project to the taxpayers of Kent by over $1 million. And I did prepare a small reconciliation of the funding so that people can see the trajectory of how this came about. So back in October of 2016, the town of Kent was awarded a grant from Department of Housing for the streetscape of $500,000. That grant has been an extension. Now we're on our 3rd extension and it expires this coming December. In January of 2019, the town of Kent was awarded another grant from the Department of Transportation for the streetscape for $400,000. That one expires a year from now. In May of 2019, the original funding resolution was brought before the taxpayers for a total of $2,925,000. And in July of 2019, there was a capital appropriation that was fully funded for $100,000. So the total funding that was appropriated was $3,925,000. In September of 2019, so this is after that activity, First Selectman Adams applied through the Northwest Hills COG to CONDOT to be considered for this TAP program. In November of 2019, the town of Kent signed a contract with the design engineers for phase 1. In August of 2020, which was almost a year later, we were notified that Kent did receive and was approved for the TAP program. So that action right there split the program into 2 phases. So in April of 2022, the Board of Selectmen awarded the construction contract for phase 1 to Mather Corporation, and they came in with a bid proposal of $1,762,000. There's estimated ancillary costs to date with phase 1 legal notices, survey costs, legal costs of $51,000. And then estimated inspection and oversight costs of $100,000. That's all for phase 1. So if you go back to the original funding, the $3,925,000, take away the phase 1 costs to date that are projected, $2,127,157, that leaves an unused portion of the original funding resolution of $1,797,843. The TAP program is a federal program that reimburses the town 80% of the cost of the project. Originally, when they did a cost estimate, they estimated the cost to be $1,824,800,000, of which that part was the federal piece. The Kent share would be $456,200 for a total of $2,281,000. So this resolution to formally recognize phase 2 is for $2,352,525. The phase 1 cost projected by the TAP program, which has now been modified because we've actually chosen a design engineer, and it happens to be the same design engineer as phase 1. So there'll be a lot of continuity with the projects. And when that happened, the cost estimate was updated to $1,882,020 is the federal share. So the amount that the taxpayers will actually be paying of this phase 2 is only $470,505. That's the estimate. So when we take the unused portion of the original funding estimate, subtract off what the expected cost share is for phase 2, we're still going to have approximately $1,327,000 plus of the original funding resolution that will not go out to bond. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware that we're not asking for an additional appropriation. We're just trying to split it up into 2 pieces so that the 2 pieces can formally work side by side. Are there any?
Thank you, Barbara. That was very helpful. Are there any questions of Barbara or anyone else on the Streetscape Committee? Comments?
We have a comment from Andrea Shaney. Thank you for the details.
Okay, Andrea said thank you for the details. Thank you. You're welcome. I don't see anyone with questions about the expenditure after Barbara's explanation. So that being the case, we will then, a last minute chance, but I will proceed to ask Jean to put up the voting.
And this will also be one of those truncated motions, but it does reference the number and also the legal notice.
Okay, thank you. So this time you are voting on the full resolution that we waived the reading of, but that's what we are approving at this time if it's voted yes. Okay, we have all of the votes are in, and we have 43 yes and 1 no. So we had 44 votes on that motion. Okay. That is the entire agenda. Thank you all for participating. I was going to say what we really miss is the chance to stand out in the parking lot on a beautiful May night after the meeting, but fortunately it's raining, so you're not missing anything there either. So, but thank you all for your participation in government. Those of you on the Board of Finance and Board of Selectmen who worked on the budget, and the Board of Education, of course. And is there any further business before the town meeting?
Just a little public service reminder that Nancy O'Day-Wyrick is going to flow right into the Board of Finance meeting after this. There won't be any hiccup in the Zoom. It will stay in this same Zoom instance. So just for folks who want to stay or folks who don't want to stay, welcome to do either.
So there is a Board of Finance meeting following this?
Correct.
Okay, and obviously the public is welcome to that Board of Finance meeting. So anybody, you can either leave this meeting or stay, and you will be in a Board of Finance meeting where the Board of Finance will take over and my job's done. So the town meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you all.
Lori, thank you so very much for this.
I'm glad I could help.
So Board of Finance, you're all staying on, yes? Okay, I
I
see.
think we have to.
Yes, you do.
Nancy, because
Yeah,
you
that's
have,
right.
because there are so many folks that are seeming to stay on, would you like me to spotlight the Board of Finance members so they're in the main panels?
You know what? I think we're all going to be on the same screen very shortly.
Okay,
All right.
You let me
So
know.
I'll go ahead. Thank you, Jean. So I'll go ahead and call the Board of Finance meeting to order. And I see we have Rufus and we have Fran and we have Jim and we have Jason. Bonnie is with us, Tegan, Debbie, Scott. Who am I missing? I think that's everybody. Certainly all the Board of Finance members.
Fran with us?
So,
Yep.
yes, she is.
Okay.
She is.
Actually, I'm going to have to take a short break, but I'll be back.
Who had to take a short break?
I do, Jim.
Okay,
I'll be right back.
okay.
Go on, go ahead without me. I'm sorry.
Okay, we're just gonna set the mill rate, so,
You,
Um,
you've got a quorum, so.
okay. So, do I have a motion to, set the resulting mill rate of 18.57?
I'd move.
Thank you,
Second.
Ruth. Thank you. Who seconded? Was that you, Jason?
No, Jason moved, I seconded.
Got it. All right, thank you. And any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, it carries. I thank you all very much. I know this budget was not an easy one, so Jim is not here to make a motion to adjourn, so would
I'll
someone
do
else like?
so in his honor.
Thank you, Rufus.
Make sure the
Have a
minutes
great-
reflect that I did it in Jim's honor, though.
Okay. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
thank you.
Stay
Bye-bye,
safe,
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
everybody.
Thank you to the team at Town Hall for checking all our IDs and stuff.